Let's talk about another major event that happened during the first few years of President Adama Barrow's government. This happened between May and June of 2018 when the residents of Faraba Banta protested demanding for the end of sand excavation in their area. So sand excavation or sand mining moy comme tipagara say mutu fa random ni tuba souf. So the people of Faraba they are mostly farmers and then their livelihood depends on farming. Te gis nañ ne comme suuf bu doon gaay di génne seen area bi was disrupting their agricultural activities. ñoom ñi nga xam ne maalo leen dee bay o ñeneen yi di bay gerte o some other agricultural practices. So ñoom ñeneen nag comme these activities comme tipa yi li ñu fa daan def di tuba suuf was affecting their area, and then in May si la gaay dooroon protest. So May of 2018, right? So ba gaay protested, the first thing that happened was the police went there and then tried to disperse the demonstrators. And during the time, guys using tear gas. This was in May, right? Using tear gas on the protesters, but on top of that too, using also some like rubber bullets to disperse the protesters. After the May incident, the police did not see any signs of the protesters stopping. So the police maintained some police presence in the area because bugun don tamen protesters or demonstrators you nekk di affect moto yi nga xamne ñu doon ñew pour tibasu fofu nonu. So they maintained that police presence. Few weeks later, the protesters were back on the street, and this time it was even more violent because Bele happened, police knew and immediately started shooting, which led to the killing of two of the protesters, Bakari Kujabi and Ismail Abba. Then there was a third guy, a 24-year-old boy, who was also shot at during the protest, and then he later died from his injuries. They died from the incident, but then 16 other police officers and 6 civilians were injured during the process. As always, the human rights group put a lot of pressure on Adama Barrow's government to investigate the death of those 3 protesters. At the time, Landing Kinte Monekon, the Inspector General of the Gambia Police Force, and he was quick to address that he did not authorize the use of force, but I guess because of the pressure that was already mounting, he resigned from his role as the Inspector General of Police while the investigation on this matter continued. So President Adama Barrow demoon si suleykaay bi, and then he made some very interesting remarks. Benn si lu mu waxoon mooy it was a very sad day for him, the saddest day since he became the President of the Republic of the Gambia. Ak tamit indiqué na tamit mene naxar bu mu amoon tax na ba nga xam ne mënutoon a julli sax si jàkka bi si jàkka bu nekk si State House. Gannaaw loolu tamit waxoon na ne tamit justice was gonna be served on this case. Ak tam he also made a promise that this is never gonna happen again in the Gambia. Loolu mooy li nga xam ne President Adama Barrow waxoon na ko. The aftermath of this incident saw 5 police officers being charged for murder. Well, lu dal nag in the end ki Landing Kinte, who was at the time the Inspector General of Police, boobu xawma. A couple of things I would like to deduce from this incident mooy, I think it was quite remarkable that the president was able to attend the burial services of these victims. Why? Man nag dama am this interesting observation on the president's statement when he said this is not gonna happen again. So, lu mean by this is not gonna happen again? Could it be that he was referring to that was gonna be the end of sand excavation, or did he mean that it was gonna be the end of police brutality, including shooting and beating of protesters? Wow, after that incident, there has been any other case where the police using live rounds on protesters, why other forms of police brutality still exist, right? And when the president made this statement, was it just a mere statement, or were there some other security reforms? Wow, because Amnesty International reacting to this issue, then we want the government of the Gambia to accelerate the needed reforms to ensure that the police have the needed supervision, training, but also have all the equipments needed to police demonstrations in accordance with the international human rights standard. So, lolu nak motax may laajte, when the President of the Republic of the Gambia, President Adama Barrow, said that this is not going to happen again, did he ensure that those major reforms happen in the police sector? Lolu motax may laajte these corrections to the president.